Right, we're going to take a look at stairs, and I thought we'd start off with something as easy as it gets with stairs. Stairs are notoriously complex, complicated elements within Revit, simply because there's so many things that you need to consider. Up till about 3 years ago, the only option when you created a stair was to sketch it out, and there's several things that you need to consider when you sketch a stair, and that is the boundary. So that's the thing here. Then you've got the run, which is the direction in which the stairs are going, and you've got the risers, which are these things. So you've got the boundary, the run, and the riser. And they're all different colours. In a sketch-based system, these will be different colours, and we'll show that in a little while. But I've got this little contraption set up. This is a floor, and if I just go into my elevations, so I'll look at the south elevation, you can see that we've got a couple of levels. So level 1, level 0, 2 and 3 are hiding over here, so let's line those up like so and take them all out this way. So level 0, 1, 2 and 3. Now currently I've got a floor in at level 1 and level 1 only. If I just select that floor, and I can then copy to the clipboard, and then I can paste to selected levels, and I choose levels 2 and control key down, 3 and OK. That's got extra floors into those 2 levels. So we'll have a look back at our 3D view, and our 3D view is just flat at the moment, so I'll turn it into that. So this is what we've got. So we can ignore these 2 for the moment. So in this view, if I just hide in view, so selecting both of them, hide in view elements, category would hide the lot. So I just want those 2 elements hidden. And let's look at the different types. So this is just basically a run. This is a run with an automatic landing. This is the same thing, a run with an automatic landing, but I've turned it through 90 degrees. And then we've got this type, which is a sort of a spiral stair. This is another spiral stair, so they work in slightly different ways. This is just going to give you sort of a tighter radius than this type. So there's just 2 different ways to draw them. This is a sort of U-shaped winder, and this is a dogleg winder. And these winders have these stairs that come in at various angles. Okay, so not necessarily the best way to create a stair, but if you're tight for space, then these sorts of things do come in quite useful. Another thing to just bear in mind is that there's no railings on these. We'll look at railings a little bit later, and I'll create these from scratch again and show you all the different options that we've got. So these are quite easy, and for ease of explanation about the way in which these stairs work, I'm just using this type, which is a cast in place stair. It's an in situ concrete with 150mm waste. Now the waste is this bit. If I just go into one of these, so the waste is that width there, so 150mm from that point to that point. If I look back at one of the elevations, so I'll try south again and see if we can measure the waste of one of these things. So I'll use the measure tool and click from there and then come down to a perpendicular sort of angle. You can see 150mm there. So that's what the waste size is on these things. So to create them, it's a very similar process to lots of things that we've looked at so far. Walls in particular, I mean, they go from one level to another level, so there's nothing too complicated in that respect. You select, if I select this one here, we can see that it's going from base level 0 to top level 1. Multi-story top level, none at the moment. I'll show you that in a minute. So if I just decide to get rid of these types of stair, this side, and we'll go back to level 0, because it's always sometimes easier. Now I need to see the floor. I can't see the floor at the moment, so I'm going to make my underlay the floor above level 1 and apply that. So now I can see the outline of the stair, and I can select it because this select underlay elements thing is turned on there. We've got a section cut there as well, so I'll move that, go out of the way for the moment. So architecture tab, let's choose the stair now. There's two options: stair by sketch, that's the traditional way up till about let's say 3 years ago. Now we've got this option, stair by components. I'm going to show you that method first. And when you load that stair by component tool up, we've got a whole host of different things to look at. So we've got the run, we've got a landing, and we've got a support. These are all component based elements. And then we've got the run, and then the full step spiral, the center end spiral, and then you've got the L-shaped winder and the U-shaped winder. And then we've got a sketch, so we can just basically sketch it in as well. Other things that we have, the location, so the outer edge of the support, and then the left or right edge of the run, and the center of the run, and then the exterior support right. So these two are the extreme edges, if there is extreme edge. So sometimes the run will be outside of the support, but if you're looking for the absolute extreme edge of any aspect of that stair, then these are the ones that you want to line it up with. The actual run width, again, that's controllable. That's 1,000 at the moment, but we can have it a different one. And then this option here, automatic landing, I'll show you that in a second. So our base level, level 0, our top level, level 1. So I need to get my stairs to come from ground floor to first floor. Other things to look at: desired number of risers, 16. Actual number of risers, 1 so far, and actual riser height, 162.5. How does it know that? Well, it knows what level 0 is, it knows what level 1 is, and it's putting in a desired number of risers based on a minimum riser height. So if I went to edit type, then we can see that I've got a minimum riser height there of 170 mil. So it's not going to allow me to create any risers higher than 170. But if I wanted to push it a little bit further, then I could check my building regs and sort of push that up to maybe 180 maximum, really. But 170 is sensible. So we can say, okay, what we can't have are different heights of the riser, otherwise people will be falling up and down the stairs all over the place. So say okay to that. So that's what's determined this. It's picked that. It's got as close as it can to 170, and it said, okay, 16 risers is what you're going to get. We're going to start at number 1, which is sensible. Now, what I'd really want to do is sort of end at this point here. So what I am going to do is draw from this point in this direction. Okay, and it's going backwards, I know that. Or I could do it in this direction and then move it back, but I'll draw it in this direction. So it tells me that as I'm creating this stair, that so many have been created and I've got so many waiting to be created. Now when I've finished them all, I've got to my 16, I can click, and it's still not done yet. I have to click this before I've finished completely. So if I click that, so I've finished completely, and then have a look at 3D, we notice that the stairs is going in the wrong direction. What it also does is pops in these railings for me. Now these railings are also components, and they are families which are 110 mil railing. If I just drop down there, I could go for 900 mil pipe, and that changes what this looks like, but doesn't necessarily change the way it's adhered to the stair. But I still want this stair to be flipped in the other direction. So we'll go back to our level 0 floor plan. We'll select the stair. We can see this little arrow. That's going to flip it. So now we're going up and back to our 3D view. And now we've got our stair looking okay. Alright, so that's making a stair without any landings at all. And 16 risers, that's 15 treads, that's probably one too many. I think about 14 is what we're allowed in reality, but you might be able to get away with a run like that. So we'll look at another option, and that's with the addition of a landing which is automatically generated. So I'll go back to my level 0 plan, go back to the stairs, stair by component, and we'll use the same options, but this time I'll come from the midpoint, let's say, and come out, and I'll do about 8 created, 8 remaining, and I'm going to stop at that point. And then I'm going to start again, say about here, and carry on drawing my stairs. So this time I've got this run, then this is my automatic landing, and then this one has come in here. So if I hover over these, it says landings, monolithic landing, 200 mil thick, and these are my monolithic runs. Okay, so the run is a different family than the landing. This arrow is the run line, and again these are the boundaries and these are the risers coming across from the boundary. So I'll say OK to that, and again I'll select this and flip it. I will have a look in 3D once more. So this is now created a stair that has a part run, then a landing, then another run. Okay, so complete with railings, all very easy. So if I just select the rails and delete them, so we can see what these things are looking like. The third option I had on this side was to create a stair with a little bit of a crook in it. So let's go back to our plan view, so level 0, and we'll go back to stair, and this time we're not choosing any of these options, we're just going to go with the run method, and I'll come back from this point, I'll come down here, and then I'll start maybe over here, so I'll use this dotted line to pick up the center, and I'll come down at maybe this point. You see that that landing's been automatically put in, but it's not. If I turn it through 90 degrees, it doesn't really like it, so I've really needed to come a little bit further down. So I'll hit escape, and I'll come down from maybe this point, and that's got a nicer landing put in. Okay, so it'll create these automatic landings. So if I say that, then that's created this landing like so. Tick, and we're done. One more, select and flip, so it's going in the right direction. So that's the easiest way to create a simple stair. Now most people, when they start using Revit, are so happy to get a stair in, which is so easy, that they don't look to pursue some of the options of the stair, and that's really where the stairs can make or break a scheme, simply because they either work properly or they don't. And in this case, if we look at this edge, what's happening is that the stair is stopping at this point, and it's allowing this step to be the floor. Now you might not want a situation like that. You might want a situation where the top of the step is at this level and the bottom of the step starts at this point. Okay, so now this situation is happening with each one of these stairs. If I wanted to change it, I've got to look at what makes this stair up. Now how do I edit this stair? If I select this stair, then I get edit stairs. Okay, but before I do that, if I select this stair, I'll look at my properties. It's a cast in place stair. It starts at level 0 and finishes at level 1. That's okay. There's no offsets, there's no multi-story top height, and it's got some general information about the type of stair. If I want to go into the type and edit it, then I can click on edit type, and again I've got a few rules that relate to the maximum riser height and the minimum tread depth. I've also got the stair width, and I've also got this calculations rule. Now this is not turned on by default. If I click that calculation rules and use a stair calculation rule for slope, then I can put in something that you'd possibly find in the building regs. Twice the rise plus the going is going to equal a range of values. Okay, so you can put these things in if you want, but we're not using it in this case. So I'll just cancel out of that. The run type, the landing type, and the function, these are all part of the type properties for the in situ 150mm waist stair. Okay, you've got a few other things. We've got the graphics information, we've got the identity information, and anything to do with supports. There are no supports, none on the right, none on the left, and none in the middle, which you'd expect from a concrete stair. It's not a steel stair, it's not a timber stair, so there's no need for supports. The whole support is coming in the reinforcement and the concrete itself. So we can cancel out of that. So if you wanted to adjust this stair, maybe make this stair look a bit more like this stair, then probably the quickest way is to just delete it and start again. But you might want to just understand a little bit more about what drives these stairs. So we'll go into plan view, and I'll go into my level 1 plan. I'm going to select this stair, and I'll go into edit stairs. Okay, so when we get into the edit mode, we can start to see a few other bits and pieces. We see the start number there and the end number there. And we've still got the in situ information. However, as soon as I select this stair, then we get different information, and we start to see a whole host of different things. Now I'm in the edit of this actual stair component, not in the edit type. I'm in the edit of the stair component, and I've got triangular grips and I've got little drag blobs. So these things for increasing width, and these things will do different things. This is going to move the stair. If I clicked on this little triangle, I can move the stair out, and so the stair just moves wholesale from its previous position to its new position. I'll just align it back and select it again. We've got a few other things to look at. Location line, relative base height, relative top height. Extend below riser, 0. And begin with riser and end with riser. Now these things are what we need to look at. So if I just find my friendly section, let's just say OK to that and move this in to this bit. And then let's double click on this so we can see through this level. And we might have a little instance where the boundary is stopping us. So let's go back to there. And we select this stair and go back to edit stairs and then select the stair. These things are still visible. So this one is going to move it, but this one is going to do a different thing. And similarly, this one's going to move it, and this one. Notice it's sitting at this point. So as far as the stairs are concerned, it's all working nicely. If I decided I wanted this to be at this height, then I could just drag this thing to create an extra step. Okay, so that's going to drag that out, but this bubble is still sitting above it. Even though the stairs is lined up nicely, the bubble sits above it. So I'm going to drag that back. To get this bubble to align with this top bit, we need to just untick ends with riser, because we want it to end with a tread. So if you untick ends with riser and then applies that, then this is now sitting where it needs to. And if I then drag this out, this is really what we want. Okay, so I can then align this face back with this edge. So choose that edge and then this edge, and then we've got this step finishing in the right position. Okay, because if this was a concrete in situ stair and this was a concrete floor, you'd want to make sure that these things were notched in or some other method of support was fixing it. You wouldn't want it floating around down the bottom. So this is the way that this would end. But it just gives me an excuse to explain why that doesn't sit at the end sometimes. Similarly, we come down to this one, and if I say begin with riser, untick that and apply that, then this bubble starts at the end of the tread. Okay, so it's dropped down again because now the number of steps has changed. So to get this to work, we've got to pop this out again, one more, and then realign it because it's started not from this point, but the stairs moved forward a tread. So begin with riser, we'll have that. So that means it's going to start with a riser, not the tread. But you might want it to start with the tread. It depends on the situation. Now we've got a situation here, so we need to drag that back so it sits down there. I know this is long-winded, but this is the way that stairs work, and it's important that you kind of understand aspects of this. So that's all done like so. So okay, we'll say okay to that, and then we'll go back to our level 1. And this is our stair. I'll just move this out of the way again. So if we want to turn this into this, we have to go back to its edit mode, so edit stairs. And we need to select this. And the only way we can do it, we can't just kind of move these things around. We have to drag this all the way back to a point where we want it to start. And I'll drag that out like so. So it says now we've got 1 and 6. No, it's a 6. Is at that point and not this point. This is due to the start and end with riser information. And then we can go back to the run and we can pick up the run. And then I can show that in like that. Now we've got some sort of weird situation going on there, but if I then align this with this, hopefully it's all going to work. And I say okay to that. Going down in the right direction, I'll zoom into this, and we can see this line here. We don't have one here because this tread is ending with a riser, and this isn't. So go back into edit stairs, and notice that these things are independent of each other. So this one will end with riser apply. So that's changed that, and now we're okay with this. Okay, because when we deal with component-based stairs, these all are separate. So this is a landing, and this is a run. So a run there, landing, no support. Okay, so that's hopefully confused you enough with these types of stair. We'll look at the other methods that we've got. And this stair top exceeds or cannot reach the top elevation. So again, it thinks it's wrong, but it's not. Okay, so as far as the warning goes, just got to bear these sorts of things in mind. So just in case you see that sort of thing, but this is the way I want this to finish, not like these. So back to level 0. If we look at this type and this type and this type and this type, we go to stair and we'll look at the L-shaped winders first. So click on that, and again these follow basically the rules that we've got there. Level 0 to level 1, no offsets, and the same sort of information. And this one just comes in as a complete looking thing. Spacebar to orbit it around. So we'll pop that in there, and okay. And then it takes a while for it to be created, but this is up. We want this to be down, so we'll flip it, and then this is up to this level. So easy peasy to do these things. You can't adjust these. Okay, if I edit stairs, then I can't sort of adjust these things apart from drag these bits and pieces. You know, the way this works is pretty much set. Inside walk line offset, we can have a look at these. Balanced, what the other options? Single point, apply that. So that might take it from, they're all springing from a single point out here, but again, I don't tend to use these too much, but they're there for you to play around with once you understand how it works. And similarly, this is just another version of this one. So let's do this from this point. So 0 to 1. So let's pick a corner point, and now we spin this out whichever way you want. So maybe we'll have it like so, and then we start creating our risers like so. Create it, and then we might then, and what we'll have to do then, because this is underneath coming up, which is a bit ridiculous, we might then want to select this and just mirror it based on a pick line. So we pick that line, and it's going to pop it in the right way around. Okay, so more than one way to finish these things off. So spiral stairs, winding stairs, very easy to create in Revit. I'll show you how to create a stair by sketch in the next video, and then we'll look at how we can start to manipulate the railings, which are by far one of the trickier elements of these stairs.